the last time the doctor took my blood pressure was 117/78, and I was told that my heart rate was so steady and calm, it was perfect. And also I had the pulse of an athlete, it was only 56. So praise God.
Oh, praise God. I mean, this is just an amazing story. What about the husband and the children now, if we go back to them?
Yes.
How do they feel about your running serve and your apostle serving Our Lady in the book and the Lord and doing all of this work? Are they feeling neglected or left out? Especially your husband, the Church of England.
As I said earlier, my husband is amazing, it's wonderful, but a Blessed Mother promised that she would look after him. And he is at peace, and it's truly tremendous because he never complains. He can't cook. So when I'm leaving for a few weeks, like I am going to shortly, I usually cook everything, leave it in the freezer ready. So he just has to take it out of the freezer and zap it in the microwave. So he's got all his meals cooked and ready.
You're not nibbling at it while you're cooking it, or no?
No. And so it's already there for him, and so that's okay. But our lives have totally changed. Because whereas before for anniversaries, birthdays, we would go for a meal because food was always central to us. It was always,
as everyone
so we would always either go for a meal or whatever, have a big party, feed food. But now we don't do that. We can't go for a meal together. Last Christmas, actually, my husband sat down at the table and had his Christmas dinner on his own. Again. It's changed our lives totally. If we go away for a few days, he has to go to a restaurant on his own to eat. Again, it's
very hard.
It's very difficult for him. As I say, his life has changed, not just mine. And
he accepts it fine.
He accepts it. And he's never asked any questions.
And what about the boys? How are they about it?
They're fine. They accept it.
Would they be sort of religious or
again? They're not as I would like them to be.
No, well, you know what these kids are. They never are.
It's please God, gradually they'll.
They mature into it.
Yes, yeah, but they do. They understand and they know what I'm doing and they accept. My youngest son actually said, "I don't like it, Mum. I'll worry, but I'll still support you." So what more can you ask?
Yourself, do you miss the taste of food? Would you miss, as you're talking there, a knickerbocker glory of ice cream or whatever? You know what I mean?
Well, my favourite food was fresh poached salmon, and my favourite dessert is apple pie. That's
all right. Okay. And does sometimes
it
you
smells
get a craving or
I
anything?
smell it. I smell it. Yeah. No, it's actually quite good because I'm not hungry. And if you're not hungry, it's easier to resist in that sense. It's still tempting. I mean, there wouldn't be any grace without that, would it? So again, it's still tempting. It's not. It is tempting, but as I'm not hungry, the only time I'm hungry is at the consecration at Mass. Then I feel hungry. In fact, one day, our Blessed Mother, it was funny one day, embarrassing but funny. I was at Mass. Normally it's just a mild hunger I feel, and this one particular day I was at Mass with my friend Pamela, and I felt starving. I felt sick with the hunger. I was so hungry. So after I went up to receive, Pamela let me go first. I think she was afraid of being trampled on in the rush. But I went up and I received the Eucharist, and I went to the chalice to receive from the chalice, and I went back into the pew. And as I was kneeling, just as Pamela came in to kneel beside me, I gave such a loud burp. I was so embarrassed. But I was that full after receiving the Eucharist. I was that full. I burped loudly.
And if you went, and it has happened to me, and I've no doubt it happened to you, if you go to Mass maybe 2-3 times a day because you get, you know, something happens that you're there no more, you have no problem receiving the Eucharist, say twice on the one day.
We're allowed to receive twice. The canon law allows us to receive twice, and I usually try to get to at least 2 Masses a day if I can. If I can sometimes.
But not everywhere would have the Eucharist under both species.
No, I know that's sometimes difficult, but again, a Blessed Mother helps, because if I've missed it for a couple of days, there's usually someone who turns up, a priest who will allow me to receive from the chalice as well. So again,
I want to go back to your mission, if you don't mind. I mean, because we've just basically around 99, 2000 started your apostolate. But first of all, is the visionary still receiving visions of her Blessed Mother?
But that is, again, we believe so, but again, it's all to do with, that's...
Even though, like, I mean, the book's
finished.
finished?
The book is finished, the book is finished, and this is what Our Lady wants us to use, so really anything else is superfluous.
So we don't know, but when it was happening, you know, away in Medjugorje, Vishka, you know, Our Lady would appear at a certain time every day.
Yes,
I mean, would this be like once a week or
this isn't. This is something entirely different. Blessed Mother gives us the book and the messages that are in the book. So she wants to guide everyone. She wants us to use the book, say a prayer and open it at random, and that way each person's guided. She doesn't need to give any other message to everyone. This is it.
Well then, how did you get round Britain, for instance? I mean, how did that go? I've heard you speaking in Turf Lodge, in the Holy Trinity, and how did all that...
By invitation.
By invitation.
By invitation. Someone who knows, who got the book, would speak to someone else, and then they would say, oh, we'd like to have her come and speak to our parish or our group, and I would get invited. It's always by invitation.
Were you down at Port Glenone, I think?
Port Glenone, yes.
Are you speaking there tonight or something?
Yes, I'm going there tonight again, yes.
Well, I've got friends, and I work with senior citizens, and I used to take them down to the Cistercians.
Father Martin and Father Angus interviewed me beforehand, before I spoke for the first time there. Father Martin and Father Angus both had a chat with me before I spoke, so to make sure that they felt comfortable with it. And then they allowed me to speak to their prayer group, and I've spoken a few times there now since.
And where would you be speaking now? Where have you spoke, for instance? Have you spoken in Scotland or England? Or?
Yes, I have. Many places in England, in Scotland, all over Ireland, the north, east, south, east and west of Ireland I've spoken. And I've spoken in America, in New York, Connecticut, and Pennsylvania, in Maryland, in Virginia, in Washington. In fact, I've spoken twice in the Pentagon.
Is that right?
Yeah. I was invited back the second time by a Methodist minister who is the chaplain over all chaplains in the armed forces. He was the one who invited me back again to speak the second time.
Isn't it amazing how Our Lady can take you, you know, along this road, and there's, you know what I mean?
And the fruits are there, because we have had so many stories of people who have been lapsed from the church for many years, who have come fully back into the sacraments through this message from our Blessed Mother, through the book. We've had people who, Presbyterians here in Northern Ireland, who have got the book and are now, either they are in formation now in RCIA now to become Catholics, or have already been received into the church. And even now recently in America, I met with a Baptist lady and her daughter. She's a family court judge in America, and we met and spoke, and she had got Our Lady's message. She is now taking instructions to become a Catholic, herself and her daughter. So again, the fruits are there through Our Lady's message.
So I just want to show the viewer, if I can, this is all through Mary, and these are the pearls on the left-hand side, and the right is the message. And if anyone wants any of these, the contact BLTV. I'll get a hold. I'm sure you'll be able to sort it out from there. Again, the future for yourself, Olive. How do you see the future?
In the Lord's hands. In the Lord, in His power.
And is that's going to be your apostolate to the day you die, while you hold breath?
Whatever Our Lady wants and whatever the Lord wants, I'll let them guide. But they will decide how long I will be in this apostolate or not, and they will decide what else I'm to do. I'll leave it to them. If you could ask Our Lady anything, what would you ask her for? Or what would you want for your life that you don't seem to have in it now, or you think you don't have? What could I ask for? The wisdom and the love for all. Lord, we don't let to have.
Have you enjoyed this road?
Yes. It's difficult at times. It's very difficult at times.
You'd be very nervous going out.
I'm always terrified. I'm always terrified. But then I say a prayer and open the book and Our Lady gives me like it's a couple of times that once she gave me the message that the pearl was do your best. So don't be afraid of failure, just do your best. And again, she gives me the confidence to go and speak.
Well, it's a great privilege for us to be here. As I say, I have been hunting you down. And many of these books have been printed now.
Lord.
I think it's about a third edition, isn't it? I mean,
no, there's more than that.
Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, there's many thousands.
But the whole thing is no one's making money out of it.
No,
I mean,
no,
that's what I mean.
Definitely not.
All it's wanted is to cover the cost of it and a donation if you can afford it, and if you can't, that's all right too. So anyone wants a book can come down to BLTV and they'll get a hold of it there. Olive, I wanted to ask you about this. Tell us about...
The visionary was asked to paint an image of Our Lady as the visionary sees her. And when the painting was done, our Blessed Mother said, "Dear child, I will now tell you the meaning of my image and the 7 showings contained in it. The halo around my head is the 12 stars. There's a host of cherubs in the form of a cloud at my feet. There's a rosary of 15 mysteries which falls from my hands joined in prayer. My garment is clothed with the sun. In the folds of my left arm, Christ is crucified. You cannot see much of Jesus, just to make out the head and 2 arms off, because our Blessed Mother has her arm over him. So the left side of my garment is covered in the precious blood of my Son, which falls from the cross, forming a brown stain. There's a chalice with a host suspended above it beneath this brown stain. Let him who has eyes to see, see. Let him who has faith believe. I am the mediatrix. This is the meaning of my image." But like I said earlier, our Blessed Mother leading us to her Son Jesus, she leads us to him beautifully with this, highlighting for us that true presence of Jesus in the Eucharist and the precious blood. Now when the painting was done, again, there were photographs taken. One of the photographs the visionary kept, this one here that we have with us, our Blessed Mother gave a message about that. She said, "Dear child, the exposure that has remained in your possession is the miraculous one, and must be exposed and venerated. This one also copies may be made for the faithful, that it be honoured. Where it is honoured, special graces, even astounding miracles may be obtained when blessed. Great graces will rain down on souls that carry this image on them, while constantly remembering my motherly love for each soul, and repeating the prayer, Mary Immaculate, I beg of you, obtain pardon for me, and I ask through your Immaculate Heart, save us from sin, and lead all to heaven." And that prayer is called the act of reparation, and our Blessed Mother promises each time you say that prayer from the heart, you save a sinner. The main thing is, it's not about me. I am not important. The visionary is not important. We are just instruments being used.